Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
The democratic world's plate is overflowing with challenges to global security, including threats to European security due to the re-emergence of a revisionist Russia. Yet again, the Tbilisi International Conference provided a unique platform and brought together experienced political and security leaders from the United States, Western Europe, Georgia, and the wider Euro-Atlantic community to discuss the vision of a Europe whole, free, and at peace, the challenges facing Europe's eastern nations, and strategies to move forward. This year, the headline title of the two-day conference was 2024, a pivotal year. Since 2015, each September, the conference brings together regional experts on security issues, along with Georgian policymakers, civil society activists, and the business community, with a view toward keeping Georgia high on the transatlantic agenda and on track in its democratic progress and transatlantic aspirations. Hosted in the heart of the Caucasus by the McCain Institute for International Leadership at Arizona State University and the Economic Policy Research Center, EPRC, the Tbilisi International Conference has earned a reputation as a can't-miss event for leaders across Georgia, the United States, and Europe. You can now listen to some voices from the conference.
It's wonderful to be back here in Tbilisi. I and the various speakers and panelists love coming to Georgia. It is a wonderful country with tremendous people, and we hold this conference to make sure that people in our countries pay attention to Georgia, to show Georgians that we care about what's happening here, and to try to help Georgia continue on a path toward democracy and a European orientation. And this conference this year is called a pivotal year. You have elections in this country in October. I have elections in my country in November. There have already been elections in a number of places already. In France, the UK is change of government. So it is a very pivotal year, and that's why we're here. Since last year's conference, Georgia was offered candidacy status with the European Union. And then soon after that, we saw a number of changes, including the announcement that Bidzina Ivanishvili was coming back to politics, change in prime ministers, and then the NGO legislation that you referred to, despite strong opposition within Georgia and also among Georgia's allies, but strong support from Moscow. The NGO legislation, in my view, is a major mistake and a step backward for this country. We will see what NGOs do in this country. I think it is unfortunate that it comes right before the elections, but I also think that is intentional, not just a coincidence. So there have been some changes in this country. I'm not sure, since I was here a year ago, that these changes have been an improvement. It seems like they've been a step backward.
Really, Russian law, KGB-based law, which is oriented against Georgia's Western integration and opens path to Ruski Mir. And it's not just a law, it's like behavior of the government doing this very openly. And I think I'm sure that many people in Georgia understand this. That is contradicts with those aspirations many Georgians still are about to choose European way of life, to choose European Union. So it's against everything what we say European way of life.
I don't understand, and it's never been explained. Georgia Dream won an election freely and fairly. They beat United National Movement. They didn't need any foreign agents law or outlaw. They didn't need to outlaw any political party to win. If they can win fairly, fine. But if they can't win, then the foreign agents law seems like simply a way to cheat. I don't think the Georgian people will accept it, but what do I know? I'm an American. It's not my place. I don't vote. but Georgia's strength depends on Georgian democracy. And Americans hate to think of Georgia losing its democracy and just becoming another autocracy, ultimately subject to Moscow's rule.
Georgia's best friends include the United States, include many countries in Europe and elsewhere. The only country that is currently occupying Georgian territory is Russia. So I don't think that Georgia's friends are found in Moscow. I would argue that the United States, which has provided over $6.5 billion to help Georgia in its development toward a thriving democracy rooted in European institutions, that's where Georgia's friends are. To describe the United States as part of a global war party strikes me as both nonsense and insulting, and not accurate in the least. The global war party sits in Moscow. We're not occupying Georgian territory. Russian forces are occupying Georgian territory. So I hope that everyone here understands that one of Georgia's best friends is the United States. And we are not interested in seeing an expansion of the war that Russia started in Ukraine. The idea that we are trying to drag Georgia into the war is also complete nonsense. The last thing the United States wants to see, or any other country for that matter, is an expansion of this war.
We did not invade Georgia. We did not boycott Georgian products. We are not occupying part of Georgia. We did not bomb Gori. The Russians did all of those things, and Georgians don't need any American to tell them. So which country is it that poses a threat to Georgia's sovereignty? The country that helped Georgia and wants to help Georgia, or the country that invaded Georgia? Sometimes I hear talk from Georgian Dream Party about the party of war. The party of war. Well, who started the Russo-Georgian War? It wasn't the United States. Who started the Russo-Ukraine War? Well, whatever the causes, Ukraine did not attack Russia first. Ukraine has not tried to annex Russian territory. So the party of war is Putin. He believes in war as a way to reconstitute his empire, the Russian Empire, the Georgians know very well. Georgians have consistently said they seek a future with Europe. Good idea. But weakening Georgia by weakening its democracy is a good way to have not a European future, but a future under the Kremlin.
I think the choice is in the hands of the people. Nobody else can make this choice except the people of Georgia, and what the decision will be done, the choice will be accepted in European Union or elsewhere, because this is how democracy works. So if people will say that it's okay for them to have such kind of politics with anti-European approach, so that will be Georgian choice, unfortunately. But I hope that those about 80% Georgians who think that Georgia deserved to go to stay on the Euro-Atlantic path, that this approach will prevail, and people will understand that the choice is pro-European forces.
The United States and Europe cannot tell Georgians what to do. Ultimately, our leverage is limited. Now, sometimes the questions of sanctions come up, and I hate to think that after years of supporting Georgia, that there will be efforts to impose sanctions on Georgia. But the United States is looking at the upcoming elections, and it is possible that Georgian Dream will win a free and fair election. It is possible that they will lose. It is also possible that they will cheat. And the United States and Europe will have to make its decisions based on the results of the elections. And the best outcome would be a free and fair election. The United States and Europe have tools if necessary. I hope it isn't necessary, and the Biden administration hopes it is not necessary. But I have to say that in some of its language and its actions, the Georgian government seems intent on driving things to a confrontation.
Look, Americans already made their decision on military support. So it's a message to your government, to Georgian government, that it's not only talks, that it's not only words, but actions also. So the same, I think, will be with the European Union. Now we will soon start our new term as new elected parliament, European Parliament. In November we will have already approved new commission. And I think we will have changes with more strong position on anti-democratic behaviors as well. I hope so.
The European Union has indicated that it has put Georgia's candidacy status on hold. The rhetoric of the government last year was complicated. They indicated interest in getting the candidacy status, but since receiving the candidacy status, they seem to be moving in the opposite direction. I think to me, it seems like the government is trying to challenge the European Union instead of trying to meet the criteria of sustaining and progressing from candidacy status to eventual membership. Joining the European Union is a lengthy process. Ask a number of countries that have tried. But joining the European Union is a sign of tremendous progress that I hope we will see Georgia achieve.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.